Thanks for coming out to meeting tonight at 6:31 p.m. Would you please stand with me for a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, we have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
All right, the first item is a special presentation.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add a special presentation, Frontier Community Resources, Smiles Grant check presentation.
Start. All right, we have a motion and a second. We need roll call for that. Roll call vote. Marla,
Yes.
Ryan? Yes. Fred?
Yes.
Portland? Yeah. All right. Chelsea?
Yeah, so we have Michelle McFarlane here, from the Smiles Grant, the Frontier Community Resources for the Smiles Grant. This is, Jasmine talked about this a little bit in the Trap the Trout, idea that she had and proposed, and so they loved it and we loved it, so, she's here to present us with that. I don't know if you wanna talk a little about it?
Sure. Frontier Community Resources has been the economic development district for South Central Idaho for over 50 years. And as part of our 50th anniversary celebration last September, we invited cities and counties to submit an application that would make your city smile. A lot of times it's really easy to get overwhelmed with potholes and all of the other things cities have to do. And we lose sight of why we love where we live. So our goal was to help remind communities why we love to live where we do. And we felt like the trout was exactly what we were looking for. So we want to congratulate the city of Buell on $5,500 to make this project a reality. And I would love to get a picture of our ceremonial check with the city council so that we can help promote all of your good work.
Thank you.
Here's where they go down
Yeah.
and get a picture.
I have someone who volunteered to do my picture. Thank you.
It's easy, right? Bring your friend. Bring your friend. How about that? Shelley, you stood out. I can still get, you covered this way so good. Alright, ready, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Perfect. Cool.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is citizen comments. Do we have any?
We do. Did anyone who snuck in late want to sign up for citizen comments? No? Okay.
All right, the first one is Kirk.
Thanks. All right, I just want to make an introduction. My name is Kirk Tubbs. I am a candidate for county commissioner, so I'm running as independent. You'll see me on the ballot in November. Some people know me from Tubbs Berry Farm. That's what I normally do, but I wanted to come and spend a little time with you guys just to see more of what's going on in this area. I have lots to learn. But I will tell you, whoever's in charge of your website does a phenomenal job applying with open meeting law, putting all that stuff in there, making it accessible to the public. So good job. Kudos on that. Anyways, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Denise.
I apologize for my penmanship or my hand. Denise Jeremic, property owner of Buell, Idaho. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for your very quick response to the backfill issue that we just, or last time I said we discussed about that possible hazard that existed and was taken care of so quickly. I really do appreciate that. The issue that I wanted to bring is the obstruction light. The obstruction light on top of the tower on the mill. Okay, it's my understanding that there's should be a red light. They call it an obstruction light, the FAA does. And I spoke with Kent, who's a pilot, and with JUB engineers, and he told me at the onset of that project, it was his understanding that there would be that red flashing light, caution light, that's what I called it, was an obstruction light, that should be mounted on top of that. That particular mill is taller than our cell tower here. And I looked it up with the National Transportation Board today. There are 3 to 5 aeronautical accidents per day in this country. That's in a direct flight path, and that I checked with, or in fact Kent, who does again I tell you, is with JV Engineers and is a pilot. He's the one who told me that that is in the flight path. So if we could get that looked into, perhaps, I would appreciate that. And I think anybody that's living anywhere in this town, with the possible difficulty that that might cause in not having one. So, and also he did remark, he can be checked, but he remarked about that big glaring white light that's on top of it for pilots that are coming in at night. sometimes that comes on and sometimes it doesn't. So if they're flying by line of sight, not just instruments, if that comes on and then wham, you know, they could be in trouble. So again, if someone could look into that for all of us, I would appreciate that. Thank you for your time. Did I run over?
You're
Oh,
good.
all right.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you.
Jason was the one that completed that project, so, thank you, Jason.
On the backfill.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, next is.
Sorry. Sherry, you came in late, did you wanna speak? We're doing public comment right now.
Oh, yes, please.
I think there's one more.
Oh,
Is
is
there
there
one more on the list?
I'll just put her on after
Okay,
that.
yeah, sounds good. I thought you were moving forwards.
Okay, the next one, is Pam Webb.
Hi, I'm a property owner and live in Buell. And my concern is Fair Street. There seems to be continuous water running down Fair Street, all the way down the street and going into the gutter down at the bottom. And it starts just a little bit further down than Traverti. And there's no way that, I thought for a long time, it was people watering their lawns and the water was just flowing out. There's no way it's coming from the street. It has to be, because there's just no other place it can be. There's nothing on the sidewalk, there's nothing anywhere other than that water coming up. And it's about as much as if you have a pencil, well, it's more than a pencil of water, probably, I don't know how much it is, but I'll bet there's gallons of water going down that street every single day and every night. And I'd like to see the city investigate, and I know that that's where that blinking stoplight is and all that road has been repaired, but I have a feeling there's something blinking there.
I've seen Jason write that down as soon as you said that, so I'm sure he'll.
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Sherry.
He always sits at the side here. He's front. Just gonna read this just because my, with my blood pressure stuff and my prior, I have issues with memory, so I'm just gonna read this. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and fellow residents. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Sherry Wills. I'm 100% service-connected disabled veteran who uses the wheelchair and service dog, and I live in Buell since 2022 and off and on since junior high. On February 11th, I experienced a medical emergency with blood pressure spiking to a level over 191 over 115. This stemmed directly from a criminal trespass into my home. I clearly told the individual multiple times to leave after an argument that for foster animals, she was trying to remove my foster animals because we had an argument. I wanted her to quarantine a cat that had been sick, and she had said just let it loose. And I told her that wasn't right, so I'll just grab my animals and leave. And I told her that she was to leave, and that was to be a civil matter. Yet she remained on my property after I told her multiple times to leave. After an argument, she told her child to re-enter my home several times, bringing kennels to remove foster animals. I called the cops. I reported to believe what was trespass. Instead, the responding officer allowed her to keep the kittens that she had already taken. He also returned the next day and illegally confiscated the last remaining foster kitten. On video, he acknowledged it was a civil matter, but said he was going to take it anyways. He became extremely angry when I was recording the interaction in my own home. With my blood pressure already dangerously high, I turned the camera off to avoid triggering another stroke or seizure. As a vulnerable adult under Idaho law, due to my physical disabilities and mental conditions and other medical conditions, I felt trapped with nowhere to escape to ensure my personal safety. The officer escalated the situation. He did not believe me, and he invalidated my experience as a paralyzed veteran by saying he was a veteran himself, so which somehow made my concerns irrelevant. I did not feel safe in my own home. I currently do not feel safe in my home as the police officer that I currently operate. Idaho law clearly distinguishes criminal trespass, Idaho Code 187008, from civil trespass.
Police should not advocate civil disputes on the spot or seize personal property without proper legal authority. Officers also need clear guidance on citizens' rights to report interactions in their own homes, especially for vulnerable residents managing serious health conditions like high blood pressure. I respectfully request the city council direct the police department to implement targeted training, retraining for officers on proper response to reports involving vulnerable adults, the differences between criminal and civil trespass under Idaho law, guidelines prohibiting the illegal seizure of property in civil matters, and proper use of body cameras and respect for citizens lawfully recording in their own homes. Better training protects disabled residents, the veterans, and the entire community, all restoring trust. Incidences like mine highlight the urgent need for clear protocols so that vulnerable citizens receive the protection the law intends. And there's a lot more to, but I don't have time and all that, but I would also like to go down to the police department and have them reopen the criminal trespass case. Because the only thing that he was willing to do for her is just do a civil trespass. But he tried to talk me out of it because he said that she was a better person because she ran an animal rescue, which didn't have any bearing on the situation whatsoever. It shouldn't be well, this person does this career, so therefore a better person, or what, it shouldn't matter. So I would like to have that reopened, and I'd also like to have a vulnerable adult case opened as well. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, that is it for the citizen comment section of the meeting. It is 6:45 and we'll open up public hearing number 1. City Council will hear testimony for the consideration of repealing and replacing Title V, Chapter 2, Section 4, and Title V, Chapter 2, Section 13 of the Beal City Code to allow limited on-street parking of trailers in residential areas. Do we have any? Public hearing number 1 is for the purpose of considering repealing and replacing Title V, Chapter 2, Section 4, and Title V, Chapter 2, Section 13 of the Beal City Code to allow limited on-street parking of trailers in residential areas. Does any council member wish to disqualify themselves for any personal financial interest in this matter before us today? No. Does any council member wish to report any significant ex parte or pre-hearing contacts?
So this question is for Shane. So I met with Doug, Police Chief Inglom, our Fire Chief Andrew Stevens was there, Chelsea, a concerned citizen that brought forth the petition, and myself. We met for a few hours last Thursday, and so I'm just making sure that I'm okay to vote, or if I need to excuse myself.
There are 2 issues that I'll just point out here. The first one being that an ordinance does not require a public hearing. So the purpose of this public hearing today is it was an added benefit to the citizens of Buell offered by the city council to allow for input. Typically, when you have a public hearing, it's because you're deciding, most of the time it's a land use matter. And so there's this constitutional rights that people have that all information received by one council member is received by all. And so when you're wearing that hat, typically a land use issue, you have to disclose what it is that you heard so that everybody has all the same information. When an ordinance is being passed, you're just wearing your legislative hat, what you've been voted in to do. And so there's not one person has a property right interest, it's an ordinance for all individuals. And so that's a long-winded way of saying, you're totally fine voting on this.
Okay.
And the public hearing portion of this is mainly for citizen input to the council. I would say though, if you did receive information that you want to bring forward,
I
share
will be
it.
sharing it.
Yeah, yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, applicant statement.
This has been a long time kind of project, and so, if you didn't get a chance and you are wanting to see kind of what's on the table, it's literally on the table, is the draft ordinance right there. So if you wanna take a look at it, you're more than welcome to. There really is an applicant statement other than that.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, if I might, rather than going through those rules, which are very detail oriented related to a property right issue, I believe it's okay if you just invite the public to speak. You don't have to do those for, those against, just anyone who would like to address the council. You could just open it up for that. Yep.
Okay. All right, so we'll open up for the public comment, public hearing, and we have Denise.
Having just heard, all of that, thank you for the inclusion. I think that, any and all information that the public can be given by the Board of Governors then is going to benefit everyone. So I appreciate that we're included in this process, though we need not have been. I got here this evening and read the proposed ordinance, didn't have access to it prior to this evening. I think it's very comprehensive. I think it's very well written. I think it takes in 524 and clarifies it a bit, expands it a bit, and then just distracts from those areas that it needed to be. Some of my concerns, having not read it until I got here, were addressed in it as to this, descriptions and definitions of types of trailers, the vision triangles, needs to be specifically defined as to what types of trailers, the aesthetics and access to neighbors, fire and safety concerns, all of this got included. So I think the ordinance was very well done. Of course, then we go to 5213, and I think that gives, or the new provisions in this ordinance for addressing 5213 will help the police department and the code enforcement officer and give them some teeth, give them something to work with. You can have all the laws you want in the world, but if there's no enforcement of those laws, they mean nothing. So we have to give our police and fires and code enforcement, we have to give them tools to work with, and I think this addresses that. So I appreciate the work, appreciate the time, and I think it was a job well done, so thank you.
Thank you.
Should I? I mean, this one.
Yeah, we better. We have an
Yeah,
email.
so we did get a written submission, so, I will read it. Okay. Good evening, Mayor Haworth, members of the council, city staff, and members of the community. I had every intention of being there in person tonight for the hearing we've all been waiting for, but apparently the plumbing bat signal went up and the water main break emergency called me away from my plumber duty at the worst. Talk about worst possible time. Sorry about that. I hope to make it there before the close of the meeting, but I'm sending this ahead of time in the event that I miss the public comment portion of the hearing. First, I want to thank everyone who has participated in this process over the past several months, reviewing the revised draft ordinance and hearing from residents, tradesmen, Council members and city staff have given me a greater appreciation for the community and a greater understanding of what goes into local government. I want to thank Mayor Doug Howard, Council President Marla Sisdom, Councilman Fred Bartlett, and City Clerk Chelsea, especially me, Chelsea, for fielding the novels of emails I've sent her. For taking the time to meet, discuss ideas, and listen to concerns from multiple perspectives. It's not often that a plumbing job leads to this many productive conversations, but I'm glad that it did. I originally came into this situation simply wanting to do public plumbing work and live peacefully in this community. Instead, I gained a crash course in local government, got a chance to meet a whole lot more of my neighbors, and developed a deeper appreciation for the people who serve the city and care about its future. Through a strange series of events, I even had the opportunity to challenge the mayor of the city I live in to a dunk tank duel, which I think we can all agree ended in a draw. Regarding the ordinance itself, while our original petition called for a 72-hour parking allowance, I believe the revised draft does a good job addressing many of the concerns raised by both residents and tradesmen. The added clarification allowing trailers and work vehicles at active job sites is a major step forward and helps protect people who are simply trying to work, provide services, and operate reasonably within the community. That said, I believe there is still one important issue that remains unresolved. At this time, the ordinance does not appear to provide a clear pathway for tradesmen or residents who do not have practical off-street parking available at their homes. While the job site exemptions are extremely helpful, individuals who own work trailers or commercial equipment may still technically remain in violation when parked at their own residence outside of an active permitted work site. Because of that, I would respectfully ask the council to consider adding a permitting or application process that allows for reasonable case-by-case residential accommodations. Whether through a permit review process or limited exemption, I believe there is a balanced solution that can protect neighborhood standards while also recognizing the realities faced by working residents and small business owners. At the end of the day, I believe this process has shown us something we should not miss about this community. People here care enough to speak up, listen, disagree, sometimes and continue putting in the effort to keep this town a great place to live. I'm slightly less cynical than I used to be and genuinely proud of our town and the people that make it a great place to live. To the citizens of Buell, I would encourage you to stay involved, ask questions, attend meetings, speak respectfully, and take the time to get to know your neighbors and elected officials. More than 220 voices came together on this issue, and regardless of where people stood, the result was conversation, cooperation, and movement toward a better solution. I think that's something worth appreciating. I appreciate everyone's time and effort throughout this process, and I believe we are very close to arriving at a solution that both protects the character of Buell and makes room for practical, reasonable accommodations for working residents. And finally, while I still understand plumbing substantially better than municipal code, this whole process has given me a much greater appreciation for how much time, discussion, and effort actually goes into local government. I started this simply looking for a practical solution to a trailer parking issue, and ended up learning far more about ordinances and public hearings than I ever expected to. At this rate, I'm probably only a few weeks away from figuring out what the heck a water bond is. Thank you, Joshua Dowdy.
All right. Thanks, Josh, for that short little note. All right, so that is it. Any other testimony on this? So we can close the public hearing.
Could I just, Pam Webb, could I just ask for a clarification? I have not seen this before. So if I have a family member coming with a motorhome, they can't park in front of my house? Is that my understanding of this?
It's
Not in this,
not in the.
yeah, it's just loading and unloading. For RVs.
Okay.
Okay. There's no further testimony on public hearing number 1. We'll close it at 6:58 p.m. Right, next item is unfinished business. Action item, review and consideration of the subdivision final plat request submitted by WMC Partners LLC for Harvest Hills subdivision, phase 3, located south of Pretty Lane and east of Fair Street, Vallejo, 83316.
Yeah, so this was the one that, it was a public hearing last meeting ago, or 2 meetings ago, but I think there was a miscommunication somewhere along the line, but they are here tonight. So if you guys, the staff report was in your packet. And Jasmine gave, I don't know, I don't think Jasmine did good. Much on this lesson, so if you guys wanna,
Thank you. My name is David Tebow, EHM Engineers representing WMC Partners LLC in their request for final plat approval for phase 3 of Harvest Hills subdivision located off Fair Avenue and inside the Harvest Hills subdivision that's been established over the past several years. I didn't get a copy of the staff report. We didn't receive notification of the hearing previously. That's why we weren't present. We appreciate you tabling us and not just denying us. And we're requesting your approval. That's the long and the short of it. We're compliant with your codes. And that project is currently under construction. And surprisingly, we're hammering rock over fuel, digging the sewer line. So it's the next phase of the planned subdivision. It's been on the books for a lot of years in an area of town that continues to develop and to expand. And we expect more of it. We're hopeful that this council is supportive of that action.
I just had a few questions. I want to start by saying that I am not opposed to this subdivision. I just have a lot of questions that I feel like I need to educate myself on. So there was a traffic study done.
There was.
Have you guys seen the traffic study? I have not seen the traffic study.
It's been submitted to the city for
So I would like to see that traffic study. I know that there was a water study done and that was given to us. I tried to open it here and it wouldn't let me. Maybe I just need to.
Water study's not.
It's not done. Was that a different water study then? I must have been.
It's just been done.
We've had
It's 2 different ones model. We did a model for a little search.
Okay, there was something.
just recently, that was like the first few chapters of the water study.
Okay.
It's like a half. But
Okay, is there a completion date in mind for that water study?
I should hope by October.
Okay,
Um,
okay, and then is it 18 homes? Is that what the phase 3 is?
I'd need to count them
Okay,
on the map. Do you have the map as part of your packet?
I believe it's 17 or 18 months.
Yeah,
what Jason?
I believe so, 17 or 18 months.
17 or 18 months. And in that 18 homes, is there any green space that you are utilizing?
no, so the green space comes in the later phases. It will be up against Fair Avenue.
Do you know which, I mean, like, how many phases?
Either the next phase or the one
Next
after
phase?
that.
Okay,
It's
okay,
in the next 2 phases. I just don't know.
We've already gone around also in the chunk.
We're submitting all of it, all of the remaining ground to do in one phase because this process has been cumbersome and disappointing. Quite frankly, it's been submitted since August of last year to your jurisdiction. And it was a rocky road getting here.
okay. Yeah, like I said, I am not opposed to it. I am in favor of this. I am extremely concerned about the lack of water that we have right now. It is very worrisome to me, even though we are not in ag. The fact that they are turning off a significant amount of their water, I get concerned with so many houses. So 18 I'm comfortable with. I just need to send you an email and maybe we can all have a hard copy of the traffic study whenever the water study comes out in October. Just so that I can tell citizens, because those, I mean, the concerns that I have are their concerns as well. So like I said, I'm in favor of this. I think after this phase, I'm going to request that I have actual, cause I wanna know when a light's gonna be built. I wanna know at what point, are we going to need a light? Because already, I mean, I'm on Fair Street every day and it is, the traffic is getting a little bit more so than it has been.
So I can speak to a couple of those points, if you'd like me to try to address some of those points. As Jason said, the water model was done by your consultant engineer, JUB, and they modeled pressure and flow throughout the subdivision. Typically, water consumption from a household is approximated at about 250 gallons per day for a 3 to 4 bedroom house. That is not the controlling factor in your water model. Your fire flow at approximately 1,500 to 2,000 gallons per day is the controlling factor in your water model of your city. And so the addition of homes should not be a real concern. This subdivision is also equipped with a private pressurized irrigation pump station that distributes pressurized irrigation water to the homes to use on their lawns, so they are not using well water for domestic water on their lawns. That is a conservation effort and also a recharge effort using surface water to water the lawns and irrigate, conduct irrigation operations. The traffic study was done by Hales Engineering out of Draper, Utah, and they concluded that a signal was not warranted. And I would remind everybody in Buell that the city of Buell has no jurisdiction on the state highway. So a signal will not be installed there, most likely until ITD deems it to be installed. And given the signal spacing from the Broadway intersection, it's extremely unlikely that ITD would approve a signal there. And
Even by the subway?
even by the subway, they've gone on record, that's part of the traffic study and the reply and response. The next thing that I tell you is it's not the congestion drops the level of service to the point at which mitigative efforts need to be made. And that's with a growth projection of approximately 1% annually. In realistic terms, from an engineering perspective, your roads function at a very high level of service, regardless of temporary or intermediate delays, traffic congestion. It just functions pretty well. The last thing I can tell you about traffic is we use the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation manuals to conceive our trip generations. Each day, approximately 9.57 trips from a household would occur to be included in that study. We don't think that each of you probably leave or return to your house 9 times a day. That same trip generation manual is used not only in Buell, Idaho, but in Dallas, Texas, Denver, Colorado, San Francisco, California, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Boise, Idaho. Each one of those jurisdictions have way different traffic patterns, growth patterns, and parameters than Buell, Idaho has. A lot of Buell's traffic concerns come from the routing that has been established. You don't have the mile bypass roads that are short, half mile, you have them about a 4-mile detour route. So if there's congestion, your detour route gets to be 3 or 4 miles to avoid the congestive areas around the morning peak hour and the PM peak hour. The traffic study was done not only for this subdivision, but for neighboring subdivisions that are coming in and included traffic from the Ratzlaff piece to the south. And then also we conducted a study for the Henry's Fork subdivision, which is north of the school as well. And you'll be seeing that subdivision come before you as well. Traffic's a real deal. It's gonna happen. Your jurisdiction is shared with ITD, and a lot of the concerns and critical locations that we were directed to by your city staff and your city consultant engineer for intersection analysis lie on the state highway, and the state holds the jurisdiction there. I hope that answers your question. Just
No,
trying to
it
present
does.
to you the facts.
To me, that means that we need to work as a council to inform the state that, and inform ITD that these are, very problematic areas. And I mean, talking about
Absolutely.
Sawtooth, that subdivision is, I mean, it's already a chaos when school gets out and we don't even have a subdivision yet.
That is
So-
correct.
Yeah, I would like to work with people to talk to ITD.
Yep. Any other questions the council may have? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I allowed to ask a question of the gentleman?
I think so. Very well.
Or perhaps the council, you may have the information, I don't know.
Yes, just send up here real quick.
Williams, is that projected to go through so that it ties up with, what would that be? 4,000? The grid 4,000, is it gonna go through, or you're just gonna stop Williams where it's stopped now? Because I think that would ease a lot of the congestion. Then traffic can come down Williams and go straight off to 30 and not get involved in that fair 30 Broadway kind of 3.5 point corner we got going on there. So I was just wondering, in this further development, was that part of the plan?
They don't know, yeah,
They don't know.
they don't know.
Oh, so it's not part of this. Okay, that answers that. And on the water, to address what you were saying, I did talk with, someone that's Harvest subdivision, the fellow that's managing the property, the homeowners association president. And, with your concern about water dropping, okay, as far as the canal, I guess they do have a pressurized water system. And that goes to each house. They have 52 homes on the property that is being developed now. That's my understanding. And there are 52 watersheds, which is quite a bit of water as far as canal water is concerned. But the dropping, it's a quarter, an inch per acre is now being dropped and probably cut off by July, August. He told me, the president of the HOA did tell me that the hookups that they have, it's like a little green box, it's at the curve of each lot that's being developed. They can hook up to city water. They're supposed to have pressurized water systems, and they do, but it's the subdivision's responsibility only to get that box to the property. As far as delivery of the water on the property itself, it's up to the homeowner, whether he wants to use that ditch water or canal water, or, if there's not enough, if it drops way down, we still have the heat going on, they can go on city water. He said that they could use, just like anyone else, they can hook up a bunch of spigots and this, that, and the other. And he said it was the city's responsibility to go out there and tell them that they're supposed to hook up to the canal. Well, of course, you would think that they would, because it's gonna be less money, but they don't have to. So if they're, and this came up during a comp plan, meeting, by Mr. Gamar, what about when this pressure drops, because he said it's already dropping in their area, if the demand comes where they're, I don't know how many of these folks are educated into cleaning their gates and cleaning their ditches and so on and so forth, and cleaning the lines, because the homeowners association is not responsible for that. They go to city water, there may be a problem as to, so to address your, is there going to be maybe, is there not, maybe we get ahead of the problem before it happens. And find out just exactly what this HOA,
Anyways,
does.
I think a really good productive thing would be to we'll get all your information and get it to the city council with all your facts that you have, because it seems like you have quite a bit, and that'll be more productive for us all to be able to look through that, and you can send an email to,
So contact info and send it
Yeah.
off.
and then you can do it that way, or everybody has their own email address.
Okay,
That way we'll have it and be able to look into it a little bit better than.
and we just kind of going off though.
Alright.
Our email from the city of the state.
Yep.
But it is a major concern, water, it's happening all around us. All right, we'll do that, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda.
That was that
Oh.
was mentioned.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve, the final plat request, submitted by WMC Partners LLC for the Harvest Hill subdivision phase 3, located south of Taverty Lane and east of Fair Street, Buell, Idaho 83316.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Marla,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brett,
yes,
Gordon.
Yes.
Okay. Now we can move on to the consent agenda. That consists of the minutes of May 11th, 2026 regular session, the minutes of May 28th, 2026 special meeting, claims for payment. Department head report, public works, engineer, fire and police, commission minutes, library, housing authority and airport, and the clerk treasurer report.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion in the second, vote. Mara,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Portland,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
you're frozen. Right.
Yes.
Okay. That next item is new business. Review and consideration of repealing and replacing Title 5, Chapter 2, Section 4, and Title 5, Chapter 2, Section 13 of the Buell City Code to allow limited on-street parking of trailers in residential areas.
So like I said, I met with a few people and I would just request that we add in two things. One, to talk about RVs, it would be an RV may be parked on a public street for the purpose of active loading or unloading for a period not to exceed 12 consecutive hours. Upon expiration of the 12-hour period, the RV must be removed from the street. Any RV remaining on the street beyond 12 consecutive hours shall be subject to citation pursuant to this chapter. So it was basically what the trailer ordinance for 24, and then I just copied it. RV for 12. The next one that we talked about was that parking permit. And so this might need to be rewritten so it's more formal, but I just put citizens who need more time, more parking time may apply for a permit for their trailer needing to be parked on the street for more than the allowable time. Citizens must fill out a parking permit at City Hall, pay a reasonable administrative fee, and come before council to approve each application. So we talked about in our meeting, there is a citizen in town who has to park his semis. Is that what they are?
What are you talking?
His semis. And so he was allotted that, and so everyone is aware of his situation. And so if there is a business owner or someone who they need more time to park, then not only, they can fill out their application at City Hall, but then they can come before council. They can figure out a proper parking spot for them by their home so that law enforcement is aware and everyone, if they call in, everyone's aware of that parking. So those are the only two things, but I was very, I'm very excited to see how this parking ordinance does in our town. I feel like working with the concerned citizen that was in charge of the petition. I think that he had a lot of knowledge, and so working together and if we want to add these two things in, I think that that's a step in the right direction. However, citizens are always, it might change again. I don't think it's fair to say that this is the end all be all, but we can give it a shot and see how it goes. So those are the two things. If you guys.
I like what you brought up, those are very good considerations for some citizens here in Buell that was kind of left out of last one, but I think that pretty much gets it all tied up. Gonna be the best for the city.
What if citizens need more than like a whole year, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the permit's a yearly basis.
Okay.
Yeah, so they apply every year. And then I was.
So is this,
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Fred.
So with the revisions, would this be like parking your trailer not attached to your vehicle, just parking your trailer on the road for up to a year then, or?
Well, I think that, no, that's not my understanding when we had the meeting. I think that if they, need more time than just 24 hours, if they're going to park it for the weekend or anything like that, then that's where the permit would come into play. But they would also talk to law enforcement and, they would, I'm assuming, make a visit to their home, figure out the safest place for them to park. Once that's all, talked about, then they would come to council and present that, and then we would have that final say. But there would be an administrative cost because there's a sticker involved, there's Chelsea's time involved, just varies people for their time. But I don't think the purpose of that would just be to leave a trailer for a whole year on the street. That's not what that is. That wasn't the intent.
A regularly used
Yeah,
trailer, more or less what it's called.
yeah,
Specify,
right. And then I had another question. When we approve this, is that taking into consideration the fines? The parking fines?
I think you guys make sure those are added in at the parking fines and that, the ability that if they aren't paid, it just gets sent to collections.
Okay,
And with the
I
services
didn't-
that go attached.
that wasn't in our,
I think that was in one of the updated ones.
Any
Oh, it is.
unexpectations?
Yeah. That allows the city to put that fee on there and then it goes over to whatever collections the city uses.
It says any violation subsection C, which will be, and, I like it. Okay.
there's the motion.
So Shane's question for you, so I kind of ran this potential scenario by Tim. And he mentioned that, you basically wouldn't pass this. You would maybe table it or no vote on it. And I would go back, add, do the changes. And then we wouldn't have to do the public hearing again or anything like that. We could just bring the revised new ordinance to the next meeting and then they vote on it there.
I believe that's the cleanest way to do it, would be to get an approval from the council on the changes made to the ordinance. Go back, make those changes, that way you can have the ordinance number listed, you have a publication date potentially queued up. And then the summary that I have to sign off on needs to be updated as well. So that would be the cleanest way.
So be ready to go end of June. For this.
Next time.
We've placed it.
Let's move on.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table, the, parking ordinance, Title 5, Chapter 2, Section 4, and Title 5, Chapter 2, Section 13, until next council meeting to have the final vote.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, roll call vote. Portland,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Marla,
Yes.
all right.
Mr. Mayor, if I might, because you won't have the opportunity to discuss any more in depth without having an open meeting. I heard from one council member that they were supportive of adding both of those things. You may want to inquire of others if they have any input, so that while we're here, so that can be taken into account before the next meeting.
That's true. Brad, do you have any comments or input for this?
Yeah, 100%. I like both the revisions that Marla proposed.
So we're all good to move forward.
Well, I-
June, okay.
Cool. Wait, I have a comment. I get to do that, I'm a citizen. As for the RV, it's 12 hours. Is there an avenue, you get home, it's late, 12 hours puts you at, you know, can that be extended to 24 hours max, or an avenue for, so you're not getting a ticket just because you can't get it in your yard, somebody's blocking, whatever. I'd like to see it a little bit longer, but I just wanted to say that for you guys to think about. All right, our next action item is review and consideration of the fireworks stand applications.
So there were 3 applications in your packets. I believe it's the same 3 that it's been for several years. Did you guys have any questions on them?
I do have to say that I do have a fireworks stand in my parking lot at the shop, so I should not vote on it. I'm gonna recuse my vote.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the 3 fireworks stand applications.
Second. Okay, motion and a second. Vote, Marla,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
All right. Next item is review and consideration of updated budget schedule.
Yeah, so, with the difficulties finding, the extra members for the utility rate committee, we of course did not have a recommendation from them today. So, I'm just asking that that get pushed to the 22nd. And that was the only change.
Does that need a motion?
Yeah.
Wait, I'll make a motion to approve or change the budget schedule from June 8th to June 22nd.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, so roll call vote, Brad,
Yes.
Marla,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Portland.
Yes.
All right. Next item is review and consideration of preliminary fiscal year 2026-27 budget worksheets.
Okay. These are those big spreadsheets that you guys got. I'm I will start by, if you have any like glaring questions. Anything that stands out, or do you want? I tried to take, what we kind of talked about in the last meeting as far as the revenue allocations, and then your guys' future need, or the department's future needs, as well as your guys' priorities, and put them into line items. What else can I say on this? The very bottom of the admin page, that number takes into account all of the, general fund contributions to the other departments. So like we do a general, back up a few steps. All of the property tax comes into the admin budget, and then the admin admin disperses it between the different departments that are allowed to use it. Utilities are not allowed to use that money. They have enterprise funds that they're strictly kind of, I don't know the right word for it, but they don't take general fund contributions. So everyone else, like planning and zoning, police, parks, code, library, streets, airport, gets a tiny amount. So this all kind of takes all of that into account, and then it looks down at the very bottom, that number in a big, the red number in a big box is basically what, after all of those contributions, what's left. So I mean, you can see you're still about 68, almost 70,000 on the positive, so like we have almost 70,000 more that I'm projecting coming in than what we have to spend. Or what we are asking to spend, I should say.
So that includes the raises. I did have a question about, on the police department budget. You have employee 10 and employee 11. They just have the wage increase of the 3%.
So those,
Not filled, those not filled.
those are the admin positions.
Those are the admin positions, okay.
Yeah.
And then in person, well, parks. So so much rain, but, so we, every year, the city takes like a $60,000 to $70,000 hit on the pool. Is that loss? Am I missing that? Is that included in here?
It is, yeah, so it's this bottom box, the city pool and O&M expenditures.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Very clearly.
No, you're.
And then, are we still waiting on the L2?
Yeah, so there is a very real chance that those numbers could come back different than what is projected. And so if that's the case, then it's gonna be, and those don't actually come out until end of July usually. So we could say, yeah, this looks great, this is what we wanna do, but then we get the L2 number back and it's significantly less. Hopefully it's not, but there is that chance, so we could be back to the drawing board, but this at least. It's awake. This at least is the projection process that we've used for years. And we've been relatively close every year, so.
And we have a $68,000.
Yeah. And if it is above that, we would just, I mean, that's when you just go back to the drawing board and figure out where we need to make adjustments to make it fit.
Sorry.
That'd be in the utility, maybe, right?
What's that?
That'd be in the utility.
Well, yeah, cool. That's it, yes, we would have to make adjustments to make that fit on a different side, but this would be for just the property tax that comes in. If those numbers are different, then we'd have to go to all of the departments minus the utilities and figure out what we need to change to balance the budget. For utilities, so that's kind of, do you guys have any more on like the general fund, property tax funded, mostly? The utility side of it, the big things here, are sanitation looks pretty good. They typically are, if you wanna, yeah, I'm happy with.
We'll back up one second and. Notice we are going back to a third full-time position in parks, dealing with the pool, it's just. Putting it behind when school gets out. Not early enough to get started with that, so. Sanitation didn't see. Much in changes. From last year's budget, we are still waiting for numbers. To look at a lease option on garbage trucks. So we don't have those yet. So it could change a little bit. Big question on sanitation? Any question on any of them?
I just, and you can help me if I, am not clear, but so the sanitation and all the, you know, utilities in general are enterprise funds. And so that is why they're separate, from the taxes. They have to sustain themselves. So that,
Sanitation pays sanitation, water pays water, wastewater pays wastewater. Parks is running the streets a little bit different than tax money, but different parts. Nothing too out of the ordinary. You can see a lot of the major, you know, the credit card fees and power and utilities is a lot of the main increases that we're seeing across the board.
and I know the AIC is coming up and I would encourage everyone, to ask questions about what other communities do with their, utilities. It's, you know, I am very thankful that we have a rate committee that can look through all of this and help us and guide us. But, you know, utilities are not, they're not cheap, and the numbers are just going up. So, we just need to make sure that we're, you know, we have the ability to maintain and not, you know, play catch up.
Well, included in your packet was the AIC
Yeah, thank you.
utility survey that they just put out, so. And it shows that pretty much every community's seeing increases.
There's a lot of them.
So did you read anything around this? This is just sort of.
Are there any changes that you guys?
I mean, my top priority for making sure that the department was, on par with other communities, that's been done. I am always going to push for, you know, health insurance to be covered, at 100%, but I don't think that the $65,000 is quite gonna cut that, so, but I always have to say it.
Wastewater water probably will affect the rates a little bit. We spoke with the Idaho Power representative and we're looking at 3-4% increase in power. I mean, that just continues to rise every year. And chemical costs, of course, are right there with them, so probably on track to hit $200,000 of wastewater this year. They keep finding more rules to abide by.
The other thing I guess I do kind of want to know is, it looks like last year, council approved like a almost 600,000 fund balance reduction. I think it ended up being, I think it ended up only being maybe 300,000 there, but I don't have any of that this year. So that could be an extra. My understanding of that is basically on this number, it was that you guys approved potentially taking $600 or $600,000 from savings to cover some of the costs throughout the year. I don't have us taking anything from savings right now. And so,
Yeah, I think we did that, and Brady wasn't here this year, so I couldn't ask our auditor, questions, because I usually ask him, are we high enough in our savings that we can start taking account of that? So maybe there's a way for me to contact him, or just, you know, where are we in our safety net? Because I know that Buell has done a very nice job of saving so that we can pay for things like the police station outright, so we're not having to have any interest on that. And so there's always that threshold of how much is, are we saving too much now? Do we need to start, figuring out where we're gonna spend that money, for the betterment of our community? But I don't know that answer because he was not here, so.
I would have to say we're not saving too much. I mean, we're looking at $100,000 in water to upgrade the SCADA system. I mean, 150 to rebuild well 5.
Yeah,
To repaint the inside of one of those tanks up there, $250,000.
so you feel like we should keep that money?
We still have a lot of pipe in the ground we need to replace.
And last year, the wall went down and,
Yeah, and that was,
just things happen and they happen fast. and-
well, one is due for a rebuild, so. If you push it off to the point where it completely fails, then it's 100%. There you go.
Yeah. Personally, I'm not in favor of that.
There you go.
What is the savings?
It's on other,
What's that?
where our balance is.
Oh. On the financials on your. In your. Okay.
Blank, second, vision.
$2.6.
It's good.
Me considering. Down here, that one.
Yeah. Perfect, thank you. And that can be used on anything but utility.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, Jason, can our savings be used on a well? Or does that, okay, that's,
Yeah, whatever. Because we just like when we did a budget, that's. To help pay for well 5 last year, those are savings, that's savings money. I mean, any of that, any of those in red for capital projects are all spent out of savings. When you look at your O and M is a top column, salaries is O and M, and then. Everything in the red, they're on water, wastewater are capital expenditures that are spent out of savings. Cause they're not. They are O and M, they don't happen every year. You gotta save to do them, I mean, even the excavator that we bought is out of water savings.
I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I feel like we should, especially in these times, be more conservative and just hold on to that and, when we need to, rebuild our well or anything like that, then I think that should help.
Well, we'll have to probably decide, I mean. we're looking, I mean, and then the budget for this year, $100,000 for SCADA. 150 for the low 5 rebuild. And then the replacement line, find which is kind of an emergency fund, for 50,000. But, I mean, the tanks also need painted, I mean. It's a never-ending list, and then, I mean, last bid was $250,000 to paint that tank, so. And it needs to be done in the fall, so. Probably not something we can swing this year, unless council wants to draw them down a little bit. You know, the longer we wait, the worse it's gonna be, so.
And that's for painting, is that what you said?
Painting the inside, resurfacing, so that, you know, they're underwater. Corrosion begins, rust, paint's starting to flake off the inside, if they rust through, then you're buying a new tank. So they have to sandblast them out, drain them, sandblast them, and re-epoxy them.
SCADA went up $100,000.
What's that?
SCADA went up $100,000.
To replace,
Oh,
replacement system, because our
what would they?
current provider is not accountable.
So the paint and sandblasting is for next year? But are you concerned?
I don't have it
But you don't have it at all?
on
Okay.
this year's budget, I didn't get a whole another year, but we did one of them 5, 6, 7 years ago.
And how often do you have to do that?
I believe it's the first time they did the blue tank, so, and I don't know for sure how the other one is, but it's due.
Mhm.
They're actually in pretty decent shape, I guess, because our water is not overly corrosive. So they're not bad. But they're bad enough that they need painted. I have the video of the inspections. If anybody wants to see them. Not very exciting to watch, but
Well, those are all my questions.
And I can find out from,
Yeah, I mean, I think just hearing from Jason, I'm comfortable just leaving that. For just in case of emergencies. Well, last summer, that well went out and we were without water for the days. I mean, felt like a week. Sure, it was only a couple days, but I mean, you just, having clean water is very important and making sure that we are maintaining our systems that we have is also equally as important. So I just, again, that's where I stand on this, and I know that, you know, increasing our utility rates are always contentious, but I would just say to anybody that has any questions to come talk to us, come have Jason, and, you know, understand why we are doing things and the potential of why it's going up. That's what I would ask people to do.
well, there's also another one, the state with drinking water fee, we're anticipating, and then the law hasn't passed yet, but. It's generally around $6,000, and it may be up to 22,000 because. DEQ's looking for funding because they lost the funding. So we have to make a difference. Well, every community in the state has to make a difference.
Good question. May I ask a question of Jason, or perhaps council, or no?
I would include it into, email to us,
Thanks.
kind of. You know, get our information from Jason. You're more than welcome to talk to him there for a question for you. And then if you find out something that maybe council doesn't know, then you can get it to it. But right now, it's kind of Jason's turn to explain this to us. Yeah. We're going to this.
Where do I find you? You're generally all over the place.
You got my number.
Do you need a motion to move forward or?
If we,
I don't know if you need a motion, but if there's nothing out of whack, then we'll just proceed as we're going, so.
yeah, and there weren't any, other than the asking about dating, which if we're comfortable, just not going it down. That's how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta clean it up any later.
Fred, what about you?
I'm good, no questions.
I don't know that we really need a motion on them. I think we'll continue moving down the process, but like we said in the beginning, if the numbers come back and they don't match, then we'll be right back here. Hopefully they will. So,
All right. Let's move on from there.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, and if next council decides they want to throw that tank into a paint job this year, that's entirely up to you. I mean, try to spread it out.
Yeah.
All right, next item is mayor and council comments. We need to make sure that we comply with the law with regards to employee privacy issues. If a member of city council would like to discuss any issues pertaining to complaints, discipline, et cetera, of city employee roles will first need to be discussed with the mayor, who is the chief city administrator per Idaho Code 50-602. After review of the complaint, discipline, et cetera, if it needs to go before city council, it is listed under an executive session on the upcoming meeting's agenda. So one thing I would like to is, well, we're in June, so we've all been sitting here for, well, already for longer. I really appreciate the comments we get from the staff and from the citizens of the community. I would like to, anytime anybody speaks, whether a council member asks Chief, Jason, have them approach the podium, just so it's easier to get it on record, you can hear them. Just, you know, we're asking the city residents to do the same. I think it's only fair that our city, so we'll just have you come up every time like you just did. And as for comments back and forth out there, you know, we have our time at the beginning of the meeting, and I understand that halfway through the meeting, you're like, oh, I just thought something, or I have to, you know, we're open for email, we're open to talk, catch right after the meeting, department heads are here. Talk to them at that point, and if it's something that's kind of valuable to us, well, pretty much everything we'll find out. And we have department head meetings tomorrow. It's the day right after this council meeting, so anything that gets brought up gets right into the works, just like that. Drop off was, you know, it was on their books the next day, so. I'm just trying to keep things a little bit clearer, make sure everything gets on record. Anytime somebody has something to say, everybody can hear it, and it's all done rightly. So that's my comment. What about you guys? I don't have nothing. Brad?
Yeah, the only comment I have is that I have a 11-year-old son that's very excited to go swimming tomorrow. So appreciate the staff and everybody putting that together. So
Yeah, I agree, Fred.
The water may be cold, the heater is not working very well.
he won't care. They won't care.
Just won't tell him.
Yeah, it doesn't, I ain't working.
Like a dunk tank, huh, Josh? You had me thinking there was ice in it. So. All right,
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
second. Motion and a second?
Aye.
How long is your question?
30 seconds.
Yeah, look.
Presented, that would be with the food truck.